Hello, I'm Sarah. Welcome to my book club with Yarnmugs. I hope you're all well. This is a place where we choose a book, or I kind of choose a book and ask you to see if you're happy with that, and we chat about it, but also I do a bit of a review of all of the books I've been reading and listening to. So the format is, I think I'm going to talk about the books I've been reading and listening to, and then at the last part of it will be reviewing the book club book that we have all read together, and there will be spoilers. So for anyone that's not read the book, who's just joined this video today, apologies for the spoilers, because if we were all sitting together chatting about a book, that's what we would do. We would chat about it in detail and kind of discuss the issues. I'm also then going to share what the next book club book will be, and also show you a couple of other book choices for future book clubs as well, so we can kind of plan ahead a little bit, and it will give you time to either get the book from the library or listen to it get it on Audible or charity shops. Yeah, you don't have to physically buy it if you don't want to, but there are various ways of getting it and listening to it. So let's get on with what I've been reading. So since I last saw you, I've got a little book that I keep a log of, and I also have Goodreads, so I kind of put reviews on there as well. So I'm just going to get my Goodreads up so I can keep an eye on, what I'm telling you, the things I've read. Here we go. Now, one of the recent books I've read was this, Freshwater for Flowers by Valerie Perrin. This is a French book, but it's been translated into English, and I bought this at an independent bookshop when I was having a day out with my friend Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful, and we both bought a translated French book. The lady in the bookshop was amazing, and she really recommended lots of translated books, and she definitely recommended a good one. This was absolutely beautiful. It's beautifully written. It's sad, emotional, but in a way that it kind of creeps up on you. You know, sometimes there's some sad moments, and the way it's not kind of written in a graphic way. There are details about things, but it's just the emotional side of it. It was amazing. I'm just going to read you a little bit just to give you a taste of what it was about, or shall I just see what I wrote? Let's have a look. My review was, I gave it a 5 stars, and I put, what a beautifully written story, translated from French to English, punctuated by a very sad event. I loved the main character, Violet, and felt the hardship she experienced as a child in care and the life she had with an absent husband. Her positivity and appreciation of simple things touched me. I especially loved the care she gave when working in the cemetery. I even thought I'd like that job. Such extremes of unhappiness and also loving moments made this book one to remember. So the back of this book says that Valerie is the caretaker at a cemetery in a small town. I don't really want to say any more because it might give too much away. But essentially, it's about family, relationships, loss. But it's just written in such a lovely way. The bit I wrote about the cemetery, it sounds like strange, but I remember being a child, my nan and granddad lived next to a cemetery, and I remember me and my sister playing in there and, just wandering around and looking at the tombstones and seeing, the names of people and the ages of people when they died. And I didn't ever feel weird about that. Like I liked it, and the same for Violet in this book. She really cares about people, and it's just lovely. So I'd highly recommend, and I'd love to read more of her books, but this was absolutely beautiful. Loved it. I then have listened to a couple of books as well. I listened to The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C. And this was a book for the book club I'm at in my work, and someone within the group, a friend who also attends a different book club, had recommended this book. So I listened to it on Audible. Oh, it was an amazing story, but it was horrific in parts, and listening to it was really hard. I'd be driving along and just have to kind of stop and think, oh my goodness, that was terrible. Let me just see if I can give you a bit of description about that. And again, I listened on Audible. This is an amazing story based on a horrific event. The narrator was brilliant. I enjoyed the details of the Korean women divers and their culture and beliefs. What a dangerous job they had, but also what strong women they were. It was interesting to hear about the roles of men and women, and the horror of the 4-3 massacre was truly unbearable listening, but it needed to be shared. As with all wartime atrocities, the innocent victims' stories are important to understand, and the underlying message of forgiveness was so powerful and thought-provoking. We'll definitely read or listen to more of Lisa C's novels. So yeah, these sea women live in a village, and their job, and it's only the women that do it, is to they kind of describe it as if you were farming, on the land. It's the sea is their farm underneath, and they were really careful and not being greedy, and they would get fish and things from the sea, but look after the land, look after the sea, the where all the things are growing, and it was just it was scary, to think that these women and young women in the freezing cold and holding their breath for really long lengths of time, and so it was kind of about that kind of kinship of women working together and being really strong, and the men were kind of sitting under trees looking after the children. It was really interesting. But then there is this horrific massacre that is described, and it was really, really awful. But it was basically, it's a true event. So listening to it and based because it was based in Korea, just all the kind of the language and the words and the names. I'm really glad I listened to it rather than read it. I really, really loved it, even though it was horrific. And then I'm currently listening to another one, which equally is sad but really important listening. So I really have enjoyed coming across Lisa C. And in fact, I think a viewer from my podcast, I remember recommending the book I'm currently listening to. So thank you for that recommendation if you're watching this. So The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C. Be prepared, but it's an amazing story. I then listened to another Audible book. And it was by an author that I'd listened to already as well. This book was called Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. And he wrote, a man called Ove, O-V-E, and then it was a film with, I can't remember his name. It will come to me. So I knew that I'd listened to his stories before, and again, I've given this a 4-star, and I listened to this book on Audible, a story of an attempted robbery and hostage situation. I really enjoyed the story and the narrator. Some of the conversations were a bit irritating, but the underlying story and how all the characters were connected was enjoyable. I'd like to listen to more. Light-hearted, but with some emotion. So it was a really easy listen. And again, I think these books are translated because I think they're based in, I want to say Sweden. Because I remember thinking with a man called Ove, that wasn't British or American. It was, I'm sure it was based, I must look that up, sorry, I don't really know, but in my head I'm thinking this is a translated book or it's based in another country, which was, really interesting. So that was a really easy listen, but I've really enjoyed that author, and I listened to quite a few. You get little tasters where you can hear, and a few of his popped up that I've listened to, and thought, I'd be interested, and often they are about relationships, people, and really, and like communities, which I really like as well. Lovely. So yeah, a couple of really good freshwater for flowers, The Island of Sea Women and Anxious People. And again, I've enjoyed all of them. 4 to 5 stars I've given them. So now let's talk about book club, the book that we've all read. And it's this one, Case Histories by Kate Atkinson. And I had this book, I got it from the library because I've read 2 of her other books and I really enjoyed those other books. But this book is the first in a series based on Jackson Brodie, who was the former police inspector turned private investigator. So I was really looking forward to reading this book. But yeah, it wasn't the best. Let me just get my little notes because I write notes down. So I write notes like I did with the first book club, just as I'm reading through and I have thoughts about it. So I put the first case history. So the beginning of the chapter of the story, there were 3 case histories that were described where there is a crime, a murder, and a child that went missing. But I put the first case history was a great example of Kate Atkinson's descriptions of family life. Very honest about the mum not enjoying motherhood or marriage. So as soon as I read that first chapter, I thought, oh yes, I feel like this feels familiar. Yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy this. And then as the story went on and you got to find out about Jackson Brodie, the detective, I just thought, I don't really like you. I didn't really like how he kind of described women. And considering this is kind of written by a woman, I just thought it was quite stereotypical. I've written here descriptions of women in their mid-40s knitting, as if it was like a negative thing, you know. So I didn't like that. And then I started to get a bit confused because each chapter has a name, so it's about a character or part of the story. But I started to get confused, like who's this? And I had to keep kind of flicking back to the case histories and thinking, which one of the 3 are they talking about? And also I was getting a bit frustrated, like when are they actually going to be doing some investigating, or when is he going to be doing some investigating and examining the case histories? So yeah, I had to keep flicking back to the beginning, and then I came across a character called Caroline. I was like, who's Caroline? And then how are they all connected? Because it talks about on the back, surrounded by death, intrigue and misfortune, his own life haunted by a family tragedy, and he starts to realise how everything is connected. I was thinking, well, I don't know how things are all connected. Then I got to page 250, and I just felt that the main story was about the 2 sisters, Julia and Amelia, and they're the sisters whose younger sister disappeared, you know, when she was out in the tent with her other sister. So yeah, it's like, well, why is it just about these, and what about the case histories? And then again, I just didn't enjoy Jackson Brodie's descriptions of Amelia. And again, you're describing her as if she was too fat compared to the sister, and yeah, such a horrible male stereotype. And then I still felt confused with some of the characters, and I put here, who's Nicola? And even now I'm thinking, I don't know who Nicola was. And then I've put, I was a bit surprised who Caroline is. So Caroline had taken on a new identity, and again, she was the murderer in the 3rd case history where she had killed her husband and the baby had been in the room. And then I started to think, now I realise who her baby is. She was a character in it, Lily Rose. But even then, how are they all connected? Because they kept talking about that. I do find that really difficult in a book when they describe it. Like they describe it here as Cambridge is sweltering. But it's like, what's that got to do with the story? You know, it just felt like, I didn't really understand. And I just thought, I can't see what investigating is doing. You know, it just feels like he's just coming across things, but rather than he's got a passion to find out and work out what happened in the past. I said it was really easy to read. The chapters were really short. I could really easily read at night time, just get a chapter done and, feel like I've come to kind of a proper ending ready for the next day. And also the chapters being related to individual characters. I do quite like that. But then I've just put at the ending, such a disappointing ending. And for me, the most memorable character was Amelia. but I'm struggling to remember the others. And also I've wrote here, how did he know Binky? So that was the lady that died, but I'd have to go back to the beginning to work out, because she was a neighbour, but did he actually go and, I don't know. So my overall feeling, I don't even know if I've done a good reads, because I tend to wait for book club before I've not reviewed it yet, but I put 3 stars, mainly because it was an easy read, but that was a bit frustrating. So I'm so sorry everyone who has read it, but that is what happens in book club, isn't it? It's nice to read things together, even if it's an unsatisfying read that you can kind of all have a bit of a moan and groan about. But tell me what you thought. You know, did you feel like me? Was it frustrating, or was it nice? You know, was it an easy read? Was it satisfying? But that is the thing. I think when it's described as moving, pacey, triumphant, I was like, don't know about that. And I do think the ending, it was almost like he hardly knew Binky, but then she left him all her money in her will. You know, that just felt like a bit of a cop out, an easy I don't know. I just remember as soon as it ended, I was like, oh, that was disappointing. It wasn't boring, as in you could read it. You know, it was an easy read, but it was more just, well, where is this going, and what are they actually going to find out, and yeah, and then even the connections. I suppose it was it Theo? So Theo, whose daughter was killed at his place of work, and then when he was unwell and had an asthma attack, it was. I suppose that's where the connection is. Yeah, the young girl who looked homeless, who then ended up living with him, ended up being the baby of the 3rd case history of the woman who killed her husband in the kitchen. But you know, even then, it just all feels a bit, not connected enough. I don't know, just all a bit strange. So yeah, tell me what your thoughts are. And apologies for not a very good book. But please, I'd recommend Kate Atkinson, because her other books I've read, which was something about the museum. Oh God, I can't remember. Time After Time. And anyway, I've read 2, but I loved them. I really loved them. So that book is going straight to the charity shop. I wouldn't recommend it, because normally I pass books on to my mum or my sister. I'm not going to, because I just think it wasn't good enough. Right, sip of tea. Now, last time I shared 2 books for you to kind of come back to me and say, which would you like to be for the next book club? And nearly everyone was happy with both of them. Some people, so I'm just going to show you the books again just to remind you. So it was the 7 Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo, or Daphne du Maurier's Jamaica Inn. So lots of people hadn't read this and want to read it. And then also this one, lots of people want to read it or have read it and are happy to reread it. So what I thought we'll do is do this one first, and then we'll do that one next, because I definitely want to read both of them, and it sounds like you do too. But let's go with this one. So this is going to be the next book club. And the next book club is going to be, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, because I'm going away. So I think I've thought, 4 weeks is the 1st of November, but I'm away. So let's go with the 8th of November. So have the book hopefully read by then. I'm just going to reread the back just to get everyone in the mood. So, reclusive Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. From making her way to Los Angeles in the 50s to leaving show business in the 80s, and of course the 7 husbands along the way, Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own life in tragic and irreversible ways. Yeah, sounds good. I like the era. I just think that's going to be interesting as well. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoy that, or if you don't, I hope we can all discuss it at the next book club. Yeah, lovely. I'm excited for that. And like you say, I'll chat about Jamaica in next time, just to remind people. I think we'll do that one afterwards. It's definitely going to be a book club read. I also thought I'd share 2 other books because I'm trying to again plan ahead so we can all get prepared. And at the minute, I'm just picking books that I've got in my drawer, and most of these books I've got from charity shops. So if we don't read them for book club, I will read them anyway, but otherwise I'll be doing book club stuff that is Audible books. But I thought I might as well use the books I've got as well. So one of the books I've had for a long time is this one, Songbirds, by Christie, Lefteri. Now, I have read that one, A Beekeeper of Aleppo. Oh, that was an amazing book. Again, heartbreaking, but amazing, and a story that needed to be told. So yeah, I know that she's going to be a fantastic kind of storyteller, but based on real life. Yeah, so they're often a bit sad, but yeah, important stories to hear. So this book is about Nisha, and it says Nisha has crossed oceans to give her child a future. By day, she cares for Petra's daughter, but at night she mothers her own little girl by the light of a phone. One day, Nisha vanishes. No one cares about the disappearance of a domestic worker except Petra and Nisha's lover, Yanis. As they set out to search for her, they realise how little they knew about Nisha. What they uncover will change them both forever. And this is set in her native Cyprus. Christie has crafted a triumphant follow-up to The Beekeeper of Aleppo, which illuminates the power of the human spirit and the enduring love of a mother for her child. So yeah, I imagine this, is heartbreaking but often uplifting as well. So yeah, so that's one of the books. Let me know, have you read it already? Would you be keen to read it? And this is another book. And now this is an old classic, and I've read a few of Thomas Hardy's and I absolutely love them. But this is Far From the Madding Crowd. And again, some of you may have read his books before or read this one before. But yeah, I absolutely love the ones I've read before. This was first published in 1874. Oh, so I got this from a charity shop. And again, this is a book about Bathsheba. She's the proud and capricious heroine of Far From the Madding Crowd. And it's an evocative novel about the arrival of Bathsheba in the village of Weatherbury to work the large, dilapidated farm that is her inheritance. The plot turns on her sentimental education, her infatuation for Sergeant Troy, and her relationship with the shepherd farmer. Gabriel's strong presence permeates a drama of temptation, treachery and passion in which Bathsheba achieves a painful but necessary self-knowledge. Yeah, so often his books are about love, are about the environment, like, you can really picture, where they live and the work that they do, and I love things like that. So yeah, let me know. I don't know if I've described that well enough. My voice is not very good today, and I don't know if I've read it out clear enough for you to understand what the story might be about, but it's a very famous book, so you can always Google it and have a little look. So Songbirds or Far From the Madding Crowd. Would you be keen on any of those two for future book clubs? 24 minutes. Yeah, so I hope that's okay. It's a bit of a letdown, isn't it, when the book's not good, but I really would love to hear what your views are. And then, yeah, hopefully we can enjoy the next one. So I'll see you on the 8th of November. Give me some comments about case histories and what you thought, and also what you think about Far From the Madding Crowd and Songbirds, if you'd be keen on any of those two. And I'll see you in November. Take care, everyone. Bye.